Now we understand enough about the basic structure of Google App Engine's data store that we can go now and implement the runner example that we've been talking about so far for real. So, how do we get started? Well, we'll go to Google App Engine Launcher and make a new empty project called New Application. And maybe we'll call it runnerdb. I'm going to put it in my temp directory. There we go. The other defaults are fine. Okay, we've got a runnerdb that creates our files for us, so now we can go in PyCharm and open that up. Let's open the directory in temp. Here it is, runnerdb. And let's open up main.py, which has the basic code that gets created for us. And it's really got the basics, right? It's imported some stuff. It's got our main handler, which is the one class that is defined to respond to requests so far. And that handler, main handler, is mapped to /, which means just the root page, essentially the home page of this site. So what do we want to do here? I want to do a few things. First, I want to create a class that represents the runner. Think of this as the table in the database, the runner table. Then I want to create a class that represents the activity table in the database. Okay, so we're going to create two classes that represent these two tables. And then I want to create a few handlers. I want to write one handler that will enable us to add runners to the database. So maybe we'll make a new URL that's called like /add, and we'll take some URL parameters like the name and email address and add that in. Then I want to create another handler for adding a activity. So I guess maybe the first one should be called add runner. The second one will be called add activity. That'll let us add activities. And then maybe we'll leave this home page, just / that will query the database and display all of the data in the database so far. So at a high level, let's just kind of write some placeholders here to figure out what's going on. First, we're going to define the runner class, the runner table class. It's actually called a model when we're talking about Google App Engine. So we're going to call it define the runner model. Then we're going to define the activity model. Then we'll define a add runner handler, so we can add new runners. We'll define an add activity handler to define activities. And finally, we've already got a basis for this, but we'll modify it. So modify main, the main handler, to query database and display results. We just have to do one other thing, which is we have to take this bit of code at the bottom here and change it to allow us to map different URLs to different handlers. I already know what I'm going to name them, so I'll just go and add them. You can see that app is one of these things, a WSGI application that takes a single parameter. You can see the square brackets, which is a list of things. And it turns out it's a list of these tuples, which are like lists, that contain URLs and method names or function names. Class names. So we'll just add some new ones. Comma. We want to say, the spacing is funny here. We'll fix that in a minute. /add runner should go to add runner handler, which we obviously haven't written yet, so we get red underscores. And add activity is going to give us add activity handler. Okay, let's we can do Shift Tab to put these back where I want them. Let's see. Let's just put placeholders in here, all this for now. So we're going to define a new class called runner. And The way that we do this with Google App Engine is we need to inherit from a base class, from a base class, a superclass that's going to provide the core database modeling capabilities. And that is called db.model. But db isn't defined, we have to import it, so we're going to import google.appengine.ext. And actually, I guess the way we will do this is we'll say from this package import db, and in this way we can just use db directly. Look, db is no longer has squiggles, colon, and we'll put pass in for now. I just want to write placeholders for all of this. Okay, now before we go any further, we'll see we've got some squigglies here that this Google isn't recognized, and that's because PyCharm doesn't know about the Google App Engine libraries. In fact, you may have had some web squigglies under your web app too as well. So let's go and fix that now. We can go to set up the PyCharm preferences. And there is actually on the left here a setting called Google App Engine. And I actually have this already enabled, but maybe it wasn't enabled right. If it wasn't here, what you can do is enable list, and then you have to go find where the library is. Instead of navigating around, I'll tell you where it is. You can actually, on the Mac, you can do Command-Shift-G, and it will let you put something in directly. And the name of the location for this is in user local, I think it's Google App Engine. So we'll just look there. Sure enough, Google App Engine gets provided when you install the SDK to be a link to the right place. So we can just choose that, and it will fill that in and turn it to the right place. On Windows, I think it's in Program Files, Google _App Engine. So look in there. Okay. This still didn't resolve this error, but it resolved the other one. Well, maybe we'll figure that out another time. All right, let's just go ahead and set our placeholder for the rest of this. Activity is also going to be a model, and we're going to define a add runner handler, and it's going to inherit from webapp2.requestHandler, and so on.